Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson here, coming up on a special edition of the Buffalo Stampede, the spring game preview show. We're going to talk with Coach Prime, get you ready for the spring game. Also, the coordinators, Sean Lewis on the offensive side, Charles Kelly on the defensive side, and we'll talk with QB1, the quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, along with a number of other players this week on the Buffalo Stampede.
It's official at the University of Colorado Boulder. We're ready for prime time. What do you say?
Yeah, it's prime time. So let me introduce our 28th coach in Colorado history, Coach Prime.
This is a dream, this is a blessing, and we've only just begun.
Well, that's a moment all Colorado Buffaloes fans are going to remember. The announcement of Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, the new coach of the Colorado football team, back in the Stampede. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Coach Prime alongside here. Man, can you believe the buzz that has kind of been created here last
I would
week?
rather talk about Yellowstone and the roping like we were talking about previously, but we got to stop and do this foolishness.
Yeah, I know,
but
yeah.
let's talk about the roping. And
we're going to get him on a horse, by the way.
Yeah, I want to do that.
We're going to get him on a horse. Yeah.
I'm serious.
The thing you got to remember about roping, you got two 1,200-pound horses.
I can't rope.
Two 200-pound men and a 500-pound steer flying down the arena.
See, you ain't tell me all that. You just told me you want me to go. You ain't tell me about all that other stuff.
We're going to get him on a horse.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you met Ralphie, so now it's the next step, right?
Yeah, and that was scary as well.
2,000-pound buffalo will do that.
Yeah, and I'm sitting in the back of the darn thing,
Yeah.
the buffalo coming at me, and everybody say we good. I don't get that.
I was going to say, though, your whole life is about buzz. I mean, every place you go, there's electricity. But have you even been shocked by the response you've gotten here in town?
I expect that, man.
Yeah.
I really do. Because what it is, it blesses the kids.
Yeah.
It blesses the program. It blesses the university. I guarantee you, enrollment numbers are going to go crazy. I guarantee you.
I don't doubt
and we're
that.
going to check all that. We
Yeah.
check all that stuff because
Yeah.
we like to not only touch the football program, we like to enhance all the programs. I openly tell our basketball, hey man, if you need you recruiting,
Yeah.
you better drop the kid around here.
Right.
Same thing with our women's basketball coach, who is just wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, I love
Sarah's
her.
great.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love her
Sweet
to life.
16 and all
I
that.
love her to life.
Yeah.
So, like, hey, bring your girls over. I got it. You know, I used to hoop back in the day. I love that game.
That says something about you, though, Prime. I mean, you've got, most coaches come in and focused on football. You've got kind of a 30,000-foot view of things when you come in, don't you?
Yeah, but I mean, I keep the main thing the main thing.
Right.
Football is the main thing, but in all that getting, we got to get understanding, the Bible declares. Why aren't we blessing everybody? Everybody should be helping everybody.
Sure.
We should be. I wore, I think, a cross-country shirt at the practice the other day because I wanted, because I know I'm photographed and I'm shot for YouTube and all kind of things, but I want to blow up there. I want their sport to blow up as well.
Yeah. All right. You've got, as you and I sit here today, got 2 practices left before the spring game. Have you got the bulk of practices? What have you seen? What have you liked?
Well, we know who's who. We know what's what. We've already identified that. It rarely at this point in time could be any surprises. We don't forecast any surprises. We've been great injury-wise without many getting hurt or harmed in any facet. And we know what we got. We know what we got to do to win.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. The installation process that your coordinators are going through, are you happy with how that's going?
I am, but then I'm not. I'm happy with that and that progress, but some things don't work like it would normally work without the personnel.
Sure.
Just say, for instance, I'm gonna give you an example. Coach Kelly, I do his coordinator. He was hot. I say, Coach, you got your aspirin? Make sure the trainers have aspirin when he goes out to practice because he's going to be yelling and screaming and he's going to be in it. I said, Coach, you do know like 3/4 of your starting secondary ain't here.
Yeah.
You do know that. Yeah, I know. I said, calm down. You're going to be all right. You got to think about it like that. You know that. But he's still trying to get these guys ready just in case.
Sure.
So I love that, and I love that. Like offensively, Shedeur gets frustrated sometimes, but he knows you may just have 2 of the 3 or 4 starters out there that's going to be out there.
Sure.
That's it. So don't get frustrated. It's going to be all right.
I asked him, we did an interview with him a while back here, and I asked him about playing for his father. I said, do you refer to Coach Prime's dad, or is he coach? And he says, well, I don't talk to him a whole lot in the field unless I get the finger. He says, then I know we got something to talk about.
Yeah,
How do you look at him? I mean, you look at all these guys as kind of your kids, but how do you look at your son?
I do. I'm very judgmental of him because I know him. You got to understand, until I went down with my foot surgery, plural, I never missed a game. We've always been together for every game of his life. I'm talking about football, baseball, basketball, all the things that God has blessed me that have gone on in my life. I've always coached him. And see, in high school and Pee Wee all the way up, I've called every play. But I digressed. I told him, I said, son, now, when we get to college, it's a different game.
You bet. I
said, I could do it, but I don't want to feel like I'm handicapping you, so I'm going to hire a coordinator, and he's going to take you to another level. So he is a football player. He's my son because I know what he's capable of, but he's a football player, and it's normalcy. I may be tougher on him and Shiloh than any of them on the field, and Travis.
Yeah, another great player. I once heard Barry Bonds say he struggled coaching because he didn't understand why they couldn't see what he did.
Right.
Great athlete, one of the greatest of all time. Did you struggle with that early in coaching?
No, not whatsoever, because I wasn't expecting me.
Interesting.
I wanted the best out of them.
Yeah.
See, these guys that struggle, they expect that guy to be him. No, I got to find out his best ability and what I can contribute to that, to make him blossom, to find out who he is, to make him become more than he ever fathomed becoming. I don't expect me out of none of these guys. That's too much to ask.
Lastly here, and by the way, we love the upgrades you got here in the recruiting lounge.
What did you expect? Everybody keep complimenting us. What did you expect?
Man, that looks good. I'll tell you. Lastly here, Saturday, 1 o'clock out here, 45,000 people, sell out for the spring game.
Wow.
What do you want to see from your team?
I want our guys to compete. I want the fans to have a good time. We're a little different now. This spring game is probably going to be totally different than you've ever seen one before. Not because of the capacity, but I'm in a mic, and I want them to hear me all over the stadium. Okay. And not only that, ESPN, I have me mic, and I want to tell them about what's going on and why I'm not upset with this or why I am upset with this and about this player, that player. I want the coordinators to be mic. I want Shador to be back. He declined last year because he's like, Dad, you know I'm going to say some stuff. I say, but I want them to understand the leader you are. I want them to hear you. You could try your best. I'm pretty sure they got a 3-second delay.
Dump button.
Yeah. But I want you to see some of these guys compete, and I want to see them compete. I don't want to see them cut deals and, friends. Let's compete.
Nice.
Let's compete. We had a fight today, and I liked it.
Awesome.
I liked it.
Awesome.
I liked it.
I know Buff fans are going to love. We're going to get you, by the way, team roping. That's going to happen now.
I don't know how to. Let's just teach me how to ride the darn horse sports. Can we do one thing at a time?
With your athleticism, though, I think would be a piece of cake. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
Hey, have fun on
Thank
Saturday.
you, man. I appreciate it.
All right. There's head coach.
You got to wear your hat next time. Don't take off your hat for this.
I certainly will. Dion, Coach Prime Sanders and the Buffaloes, 1 o'clock on Saturday with the spring game at Folsom Field. Coming up next in the Stampede, we're going to talk with the defensive coordinator for the Buffaloes, Charles Kelly. Defensive system. Are you getting a sense of what that's all about? What's going to be like to play in this system?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great being under Coach Kelly, Coach Williams, Coach Sal. Just that whole coaching staff has been really great. Just understanding their system, understanding their mindset. And I think it was a bit of a challenge for me at first, just trying to get all the stuff from Dartmouth out, just trying to learn this new system, but still keeping those same fundamentals I learned there. But I mean, it's been exciting. The players are running the expectation out of us that they want. I mean, I've loved it.
Well, there's one of the new Buffaloes right there, Shane Cokes. He's going to be a good one for Colorado. Back in the Stampede, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, defensive coordinator Charles Kelly joining us here for a few minutes. All right, Shane Cokes, tell us about him a little bit. Impressive kid.
He's very impressive.
Yeah.
Goes to work every day, acts like a professional, plays really hard, has learned the defensive scheme, really works at his technique. He's been a joy to coach. Sal's done a great job with him.
Yeah, we hear Prime all the time talk about going out wanting dogs, wanting guys that want to play. What does that mean in a Charles Kelly world? What does that look like? What qualities in a player are you looking for defensively?
First of all, when you really love ball, you got to love the grind, and you've got to love the practice. You've got to love the preparation. You got to love the film study. You got to love everything about it. You just can't love game day, and that's what a dog does. And, Shane has shown that, every little thing, there's not a time. I think every Thursday night since he's been here, he would show up at my office at 6 o'clock and say, Coach, can we watch film?
Yeah.
On his own.
That's a quality that's unique, is those guys that want to, I mean, there's guys that show up at practice.
Right.
And there's guys that show up then on their time and want more out of you guys. That's what you're talking about.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And because you fall in love with the grind of the game. Same way with coaching. You got to enjoy everything that goes on in coaching. The development of players, the recruiting, the relationships. It's not just game day. It's a whole process that has to be worked in order to get results.
All right, you're nearly through the entire group of practices for spring ball. What's your assessment defensively?
Well, you know, we've got some holes to fill in the portal, and we feel like we're on track to do that. But for the guys that have been here, I feel like they've made improvements. We've seen improvement every day in practice. So, you know, the biggest thing, what we want to do is be a fundamentally sound team, and we want to be able to play fast.
Yeah.
So we worked hard at that, and you see some improvement. And, you know, we tackle better in the last scrimmage. We got to eliminate big plays, you know, make sure we're sure tacklers, and make sure we understand what we're doing scheme-wise.
One of the guys who's a returning player for the Buffaloes, Charles gets a chance to coach. On the secondary level is safety Trevor Woods.
Powered by Ford, cars, trucks, and SUVs built for America, built Ford proud.
When the coaching change is made and then you find out that the interim guy's not going to get it, you're not sure who the coach is, it can be real easy in this day and age to start looking elsewhere and thinking, well, maybe I'll just jump in a portal. Was that a tough situation for you to kind of wait and see what was going to happen and who was going to become the new coach?
Not for me. I'm happy with where I am. You know, I have enough confidence in myself that I feel like anywhere I go, I could have played. So, you know, I'm here.
Yeah.
No matter who he brings in, I felt like, you know, I can compete.
You know, when Coach Prime got here, he kind of laid a challenge down to all you guys. Okay, now new sheriff in town. This is the way we're going to do things. You guys got to rise up to that level. You took that as kind of a challenge, a guy that's as competitive as you are, I would think.
Of course. I mean, you know, everyone here should be competitive people, you know, and I think just like most other guys, you know, we took it as a challenge, you know, as everybody should. If you didn't take it as a challenge, I mean, then those are the guys, you know, we don't really want.
Trevor's one of those guys, isn't he? I mean,
Right.
he don't like the spotlight. Doesn't want to talk about, you know, interviews from in front of a camera, but he loves the game.
He loves the game, and I'll tell you about Trevor. He's one of those guys that, you know, he had been here before. He'd been through a few coaches, and it was interesting to watch him, how he bought into what we were doing. He's really worked fundamentally. There were some things. He's got really good instincts. He's a good tackler. We did some things to work with him in coverage. To help him, and you know, he's bought into all that, and he's one of those guys like Shane that really loves the grind. He loves that part of the game.
Charles, the installation process. I'm trying to get these guys to understand the system.
Right.
How's that process going? Are you happy where you're at?
It's good, and I think what you have to, when you're putting in a new system, and I think football in general, what you want guys to do is be able to understand concepts, not memorization. It's not like memorizing a vocabulary test. You're understanding certain concepts. And those concepts, whether they come up in first and second down, third down, red zone, goal line, short yardage, you want those guys to be able to understand those concepts and then understand how to play situations.
Okay.
Because if you play situations good, then it's going to give you a better chance to win the game.
Yeah.
And I think our guys are starting to understand that.
You know, we were talking to Prime here in the previous segment, and he said one of the things I got to remind Coach Kelly all the time, when he gets out there, you get fired up on the field, he's saying, hey, you don't have your full deck of cards yet. It's going to look a little bit different when you get there in August.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're, you know, I feel like when you're coaching, you coach everybody the same way. And you coach, it doesn't matter. You've got to anticipate that, hey, every player could be in there playing as a starter. So that's the way we do. We have expectations for everybody on this team.
Speaking of expectations, Saturday, 1 o'clock, Folsom Field. What do you want to see from your unit?
First of all, I want to see people execute. I want to see people play fast, and we want to tackle well. Okay. That's the things that we want to do. We're not going to try to go out there and do 1,000 scheme things, but we want to see the guys play fast. You know, their first time in this stadium.
Yeah.
You got to take pride in that, and That's what I want to see. I want to see how much pride they have by going on that field.
All right. Love it, Coach. Thank you much.
Thank you.
All right, defense coordinator Charles Kelly here. The Buffaloes have got the spring game on Saturday at 1 o'clock. We're going to flip over to the offensive side. Sean Lewis, offensive coordinator, joins us next.
I'm just curious, as you're almost done with spring football, how have you seen this team grow from, really when you got here in January to where you guys are now?
I mean, a lot of people ain't like the work, so that's why a lot of players had left. So just seeing everybody working, seeing everybody striving for greatness, and everybody's trying to buy into what coach is saying. So it's been good. It's been a work in progress. So we just hopefully continue to work. I'm just ready to walk in the stadium, see all the people around, all the fans. I've never been in this stadium, never been in this atmosphere, so I'm trying to get a feel of how it's going to be in the season.
Well, there's a young guy you're certainly going to love out there, Buff Nation. One of the great athletes we'll ever see in the black and gold. Travis Hunter, going to be a special, special player, playing both ways for the Buffaloes. Back at a special Buffalo Stampede, our spring game preview show. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Let's start talking offense now. And we're going to sit down with offensive coordinator Sean Lewis.
Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Celebrate responsibly.
All right, here we go. Give me 2 claps really fun. Woo! Good. Hey, listen, all right, so we're going to start doing this every single Monday, okay? Have a little mindset training. If you don't have the right mindset, the skill set don't matter. Y'all understand that? So each Monday, as we're cranking up and ramping up here to spring ball, we got to get our minds right.
So right now we get to give the guys a little bit of a taste, right? So we're in an 8-hour work week, and we can only spend so much of that with football right now. So, we're taking some time on Mondays to do this kind of like mindset training so that we're all on the same page. When we say things, when we say certain words, that we're thinking about them the exact same way so that there's no gray and we can go execute the right way with it. And then obviously doing all the nuances that come with the X's and O's, learning the new terminology, alignments, assignments, execution, that sort of stuff.
I think a lot of times fans think, well, coaching, they're going to teach them, okay, you run this route, and they're going to throw it here and that kind of thing. There's so much of a psychological aspect of this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you got to be Bill Belichick, and sometimes you got to be Dr. Phil, right?
Correct. Yeah, you wear many caps, right? You wear many caps, and again, just getting the guys to know and understand what winning requires, right? To establish that culture of winning that we are going to do, you have to be very, very clear in what it takes to win and kind of where those friction points are going to come and how we're going to break through those so that we can get to the other side and be great.
Has that always been an aspect of coaching, or has it become more important in the last, say, 20 years?
I think it's become more and more important as we continue to go, and I think as the generation becomes more and more informed, they want to know why. When I was playing, Coach Alvarez could just tell me, hey, here's what to do, go do it. And you said, yes, sir, and you went and you did it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying one's right or wrong, but now we have a generation of young people that we are instructed to lead that are so well informed that they want to know, well, why are we doing it this way? Sure. And if you don't have a great reason for why you're doing it, well, you need to reassess that.
Anytime you come to a new program, it's got to be kind of exciting because you're building something new.
Yeah.
This is unique because of where the program was. Coach Prime brings a unique characteristic to all of this, obviously. You guys are turning the roster over. I mean, this is like a new build you guys are doing right now. That's got to be exciting.
It really is, right? And that was part of the uniqueness of this opportunity, the uniqueness of the challenge, and why I kind of, gnawed at it and jumped at it, because it was one of those things that was going to be so unique amongst college football, and this very special opportunity to start with a clean slate and go.
There's the offensive coordinator, Sean Lewis. Again, the Buff spring game Saturday, 1 o'clock at Folsom Field. Sold out 45,000 at Folsom Field. Coming up next, we're going to talk with QB1, Shedeur Sanders, your quarterback, up next on the Stampede. Part of being a good receiver is having a good rapport with the quarterback.
Yeah.
Tell me about catching the ball from Shedeur.
Oh, it feel good. Shedeur be slinging that thing.
Is that right?
Yeah, he be slinging that ball. We was getting that work in when I first got here, so he kind of already knew where I'm coming, like how I'm coming. I love Pete.
I know it's you got work to do before the season gets here, but
yeah.
What do you think about running behind Ralphie? You heard about that yet? How that's going to work out? Run behind the Buffalo?
I'm going to burn Ralphie. Ralphie, you ain't ready for me yet. I'm sorry.
Well, one of the speedsters for the Buffaloes right there, Jimmy Horn Jr., great wide receiver for the Buffaloes. Back in the Stampede, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. As we look ahead to the spring game at Folsom Field, a sellout, 45,000 coming up on Saturday here in Boulder. Now let's talk about the guy throwing him the football, your quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. Team coming along. I mean, guys starting to figure things out in terms of the new system and kind of what Coach Prime expects.
Yeah, that's my dad, so I know what he expects. So I definitely share what I experienced with him, with the team, and so they can understand, okay, it's all seriousness when we get on the field, and the offense coming along really good. Day by day, we just try to cut down on errors. The big plays and the stuff, that's going to happen with ease. We're not worried about that. It's just about staying consistent and not being up and down type of team. It's just stay really consistent. Like a stock market, you want to invest in good stocks.
Yeah, you bet.
Not stocks that just going to go up and down.
Right. Who knew you're going to get financial advice here? I didn't know. That's good stuff. Everyone's talked about the pace that you guys play with out there. Is that something that you guys are really looking to focus on? Finding that pace, continuity out there, make sure everyone's on the same page?
Well, no, we're not focusing on that because that's going to come regardless. Like, just by the focus and just being intentional with the work. It's more about knowing each and every play our assignment and executing every single time. Yeah. That's what we're focusing on right now.
Sean Lewis.
Yeah.
How are you getting along with him in terms of being offensive coordinator, the system he's implementing?
Oh, yeah.
Like Coach Lewis?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like Coach Lewis a lot. Yeah.
What is it about him?
Nah, it's because like he's a different type of guy. Like overall, like by the short time he's been here, like he helped me grow in many ways. So, like just a guy like that being able to push you each and every day, is great.
You mentioned a moment ago, you said, Coach Prime's my dad. I've talked to a lot of guys who play for their fathers. On the field, do you call him dad or do you call him coach?
No, I don't even talk to him. You'll see. He'll say this to me. He'll do that to me.
Then you know you're in trouble or what?
Nah, it could be two things. It could be, okay, you're in trouble, you're doing something wrong, or talk to me about, stay focused and get us some right play calls, stuff like that. That's it.
You've kind of grown up, though, with a pretty bright spotlight on you. You like the responsibility of the quarterback, being the guy that's the leader out there and all that comes with it?
See, but that's the thing. I don't feel like it's just a responsibility. It's so natural, so it's like when people just feel a lot of pressure about things, it's like it's normal to me. So it's like it's just regular. So I don't really feel a lot of pressure, responsibility because it's just my expectation of like myself.
Okay. Lastly here, you got some pretty impressive weapons out there. Travis, now working with a wide receiver. With Jimmy, the way he's coming along and on and down the line. Is it important for you guys to kind of have a rapport on the field for an offense to be successful? They always talk about quarterbacks and receivers not even having they kind of look at each other and know what's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's what the spring is for, to be able to look at each other and know, okay, we're both thinking this at this exact moment. So that's just come with like just being cool, just hanging around each other.
Well, there's your quarterback, Shedeur Sanders for the Buffaloes as we look ahead to the spring game on Saturday. Again, first time ever, a sellout at Folsom Field. 45,000 fans set to be in attendance. Can't wait. Again, the game's going to be broadcast nationally on ESPN. Coach Gary Barnett and I are going to have it as well on the Colorado Football Network. Join us for the broadcast starting at 1 o'clock on Saturday as we wrap up our spring game preview show. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.